Our daily Bible reading and devotion for March 27th. Our reading today will come from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verses 1 through 16. On a Sabbath, while he was going through the grainfields, his disciples plucked and ate some heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands. But some of the Pharisees said, "Why are you doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath?" And Jesus answered them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? He and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and took and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and also gave it to those with him. And he said to them, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." On another Sabbath he entered the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was withered, and the scribes and Pharisees watched him to see whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. But he knew their thoughts, and he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come, stand here." And he arose and stood there. And Jesus said to them, "I ask you, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to destroy it?" And after looking around at them all, he said to him, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored. But they were filled with fury and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. In these days he went out to the mountain to pray. And all night he continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12, whom he named apostles: Simon, who was named Peter, and Andrew his brother, and James and John, and Philip and Bartholomew, and Matthew and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon, who was called the Zealot, and Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. Devotion thoughts for today. Ere you left your room this morning, did you think to pray? This is a line from a gospel song that Mary Kidder penned well over a century ago. A heartfelt song that expresses the notion that we all should be praying when those needs arise, whether temptation, anger, trials, or when life is dark and dreary. Did you think to pray? Rather sobering questions to consider in light of the weight of trouble many of us find on a daily basis. What is our first line of defense? One thing that occurs to many students of the New Testament is the reliance of those of great faith on prayer, especially Jesus. It was after an entire night in prayer that Jesus chose the 12 that would carry on his gospel after his death. Besides great Bible characters like Moses, Daniel, David, and the likes, many historical figures have found great solace and strength in the communing prayer. Abraham Lincoln, in the darkest days of the United States Civil War, called for a national day of prayer and fasting on April 30th, 1863. At the outset of World War II, Franklin Roosevelt uttered a prayer to God over the radio to an anxious nation. It is absolutely imperative that men and women today offer up prayers and petitions to our Heavenly Father in times of trouble and trials. Yet it is no less needed for our daily bread as well. Think of the impact this could have on lives of those who sought the aid of God in decisions of those seemingly insignificant affairs of life. Do you pray each day before leaving your house for work, school, or errands? Do you pray for guidance in your work? Do you pray for insight into those with whom you will come in contact with today? For Jesus, his decision to choose among the great number of disciples those who would carry on his message was one he would not make without a great deal of care. Perhaps there is a lesson couched in this passage that we would do well to glean in our lives. Question of the day: when was the last time you spent the night in prayer? A thought to meditate on this day: make a list of areas in your life you could use prayers to help you. This has been our Bible reading for March 27th.